Good evening. I think this is the first time I come to Seck to give a talk. Tonight, the talk is on Vihara and lay people. But before I go into this talk, just like to brief you on our program. Tomorrow is Saturday. After breakfast, we have a meditation. They put here guided meditation, 8:15 to 9:15. And then in the afternoon, after lunch, there is a Q&A from 12:30 to 1:30. And then at night, they put here 8:30 to 10 o'clock. There is a talk called Full Loop Soul in Daily Life. Prosperity, status, longevity. And then on Sunday, after breakfast, there's also a meditation, 8:15 to 9:15. And then 10:15 to 11 o'clock, there's a talk on meditation. And again, after lunch, there is a Q&A, 12:30 to 1:30. And then Sunday night, originally the talk was supposed to be prosperity, life after life, but I've changed it. I've changed it to why cultivation or development, bhavana, is so important, because the original topic is quite similar to the first night, so I don't want to repeat it. Okay, so tonight the talk is on Vihara and lay people. This is an easy topic, a light topic, so I won't talk so much, give you more of a chance to ask questions. Because I'm sure many of you have questions or have things in your mind that you are doubtful of. And I explained the Dhamma based on the early suttas of the Buddha, because the Buddha said in the Anguttara Nikaya 4.180, if any monk says that the Buddha taught like this or taught like that, the Buddha said you should not accept and you should not reject, but you should compare it with the suttas. Only if it agrees with the suttas and the Vinaya can you take it to be the Buddha's words, the Buddha's teachings. And the Buddha also warned us in Samyutta Nikaya 16.13 that in the future there will be fake Dhamma. And the Buddha said also this fake Dhamma will be created by monks themselves. So it is the monks who preserve the Dhamma, and it's also the monks who destroy the Dhamma. So we have to teach according to the suttas, because the Buddha said in the Digha Nikaya, Sutta 29, that his teachings are perfect and complete. The Buddha's teachings in the 5 Nikayas, all the suttas are perfect and complete. That means it cannot be more perfect, it cannot be more complete. And the Buddha said, if you think you want to add to his words, you don't see his Dhamma. If you think you want to subtract from his words, you also don't see the Dhamma. When you don't see the Dhamma, it means you don't have right view. If you don't have right view, you are not even a Sotapanna. What the Buddha is saying is that those monks who created the later books, they are not Arya, they are all Putujana. It's because they don't appreciate the suttas, how well it was spoken, how complete and perfect it is. That's why they want to add to what the Buddha said. No need to add. Everything that you need to know from the spiritual path was spoken by the Buddha. That sutta also implies that our Buddha Gotama is the most perfect Buddha. You cannot find another Buddha more perfect than our Buddha, because his teachings are perfect and complete. No other Buddha can be more perfect and complete than our Buddha Gotama. At the most, another Buddha can be only similar in standard, in quality as our Buddha Gotama. So it's because people to realize that they think they want to wait for Maitreya Buddha. They think they want to go and meet Amitabha Buddha and all that. No need. You have the perfect Buddha and the perfect teaching here and now. If you don't study the suttas, you would have wasted your lifetime and you would regret it. So now coming back to this topic, Vihara and lay people. The word Vihara means a dwelling place, an abode. It can consist of one building or it can consist of several buildings. And in the English you can translate it as a monastery. During the Buddha's time, all the monasteries were forest monasteries, like our Vihara Buddha Gotama. Forest monasteries are monasteries that are away from town, at least 1 kilometer away from town. During the Buddha's time, people lived in enclosed cities because there were bandits. So people lived in enclosed cities, walled up. Then you have a main gate and somebody looking after the main gate. Anybody wants to enter or go out, that man looking at the gate can open the door. So during the Buddha's time, most of the monasteries were several kilometers away from the towns. So the Buddha's days, monasteries were called by various names. Arama. Arama is like a botanical park. A park. Avasa, also having the same meaning. Avasa, this word Avasa in Thailand became Awat, and from Awat became Wat. So they shortened it. So in the Buddha's days, viharas were only for either monks or nuns, and lay people generally did not stay in the vihara. And slowly the vihara evolved. So nowadays you have town monasteries like here. And before I started our monastery, which is about 20 years old, in Temoh, Perak, I lived in several places. Then I realized that for a monk to really practice, he needs to stay away from town. Because at one time I stayed with Bhante in Penang, and it was like a town monastery. It was called Mitosi, from the word Omitohut. Actually belonged to Mahayana monks, and Bhante got to use it. So I found that when people come to offer breakfast, after breakfast they'll ask they sit down and ask us a lot of questions. And then when they come to offer lunch, again after lunch they will sit down and ask a lot of questions. Sometimes family problems, a lot of times family problems. They are asking us, unmarried people, about family problems. How to... we are not experts. So that is after lunch. And then after work, 5 o'clock, some of them will come straight to the monastery and ask questions or discuss things. And then some after dinner, 8 o'clock, will come and ask. And not only that, sometimes they ask us to go for blessings. Bless the house, bless the car, bless the marriage, everything also need to bless. But the Buddha's days, monks are not allowed to chant blessings. In the Buddha's days, when a monk, for example, goes to a house for a house dana, after the lunch meal, the blessings the monk gives is a Dhamma talk. Sometimes a very short Dhamma talk. Like in the suttas, once the Buddha went to a layperson's house, and after eating, he gave a short discourse. He said, when a layperson offers food to the monk, he gives 4 things. Ayu, Vano, Sukhang, Balang. Ayu is long life. Vano is beauty. Sukhang is happiness. Balang is strength. So because you give good food to the monk, he gets a longer life. He lives longer. He looks more beautiful. And then he has strength. So the Buddha said, by giving these 4 things, you will get back these 4 things. Either in this life or in the future life. So that was the blessing. Listening to Dhamma is a great blessing, a lot of people don't realize. It's a much higher blessing than doing dana or keeping your sila. If you listen to Dhamma and you understand, you can get right view, Aryan right view, and become an Arya. If you listen to my talks, I've given talks for nearly 30 years. Most of the talks are condensed in the SD card, which is available for sale there. Cheap sale. We are selling below our cost price to encourage people to listen. So, in the Buddha's days, monastery is for the monk to practice the holy path. The holy path is the Aryan Eightfold Path. It's also known as Sila, Samadhi and Panya, keeping the precepts, practicing meditation to get concentration, and listening to the Dhamma to attain wisdom. So, in the Buddha's days, the monastery was big, many acres. So they can go to different corners of the monastery to meditate. In the morning, the monks would, when the sun rises and it's a bit bright, they walk into town for alms round, Pindapata. During the Buddha's days, cloth was hard to come by. And the cloth they get also very buruk one. Easily you pull it a bit harder, it will break. So cloth was expensive. So when they walked into town for Pindapata, this upper robe in Thailand is called Shivon. They will fold it and put on top of the head. And then they only wear the sabong. In Thailand it's called the sarong. In Thailand it's called sabong. And they walk topless through the forest. And then when they come near the town or the city, and they put on their robe. And then they walk to town and then collect their food. And after they walk out of the town, out of the city gates, they will take off their robe again, put it on their head, and then walk into the forest and have their meal. Then after they have their meal, they will go to one corner of the monastery, quiet, sit under a tree and meditate. Meditate, take a rest and meditate the whole day until the sun sets. And then when the sun sets, they will come to the most senior monk, to where the most senior monk is dwelling, or if they have a hall, they go to the hall and they discuss Dhamma. Even Arahants who have finished their work, they will also go and discuss Dhamma because they value Dhamma so much. They respect Dhamma so much. Sometimes they purposely ask certain questions for a senior monk to answer so that the junior monks can learn some Dhamma. Sometimes the junior monks will ask. So after discussing Dhamma and getting quite late, then they will take a rest. Then after that they wake up. They wake up early before the sun rises and meditate. Either sitting meditation or walking meditation until the sun comes up. Then time for them to go for alms round again. So that was the monk's routine during the Buddha's time. But sometimes they also had work to do. Like in the Vinaya books, it is mentioned that during one Vasa, 3 months of the rain season, the monks under Venerable Mahamoggallana, they built 500 kutis. But then 500 is not exact, meaning quite a large number of kutis. The monks work, that means practically the whole day they work. Cut the wood, saw the wood, nail the planks and all that to build the kuti. So it's not that monks don't work, monks also work. Especially in the forest monastery. If your forest monastery is big, you have to do more work. Our monastery is 20 acres. By Malaysian standard, it's quite big. But by Thai standard, it's good. Kacang putih. Thailand, some monasteries 1,000 acres, 2,000 acres. So the monastery also is a place for lay people to come to do dana, food offering or offering of any other requisite. And then also to do volunteer work. Because monks are not supposed to cut the trees or cut the branches or cut the grass and all that. Why? Anybody know why? Devas is one reason, but I think the main reason was that in India they believe that plants are living beings. They say plants are one faculty living beings. We have 6 faculties, 6 senses. Plants have 1 sense. So even up to today, there's a religion in India called Jainism. Their followers are called Jains. In the Buddha's time, they were called Nigantas. And even up to today, some of them, they practice compassion to a great extent, to the extent that they have a cloth covering their nose, covering their mouth all the time. Why? So that the flies and the mosquitoes don't fly into their mouth and get killed. The Buddha said, this is compassion without wisdom. So for them, even they are vegetarians, and I'm not sure, I think maybe vegans also. And not only vegetarian, they are vegetarian to the extent that they cannot eat fresh fruit, they cannot eat fresh vegetable, because they say fresh vegetable is still alive. Must wait until the vegetable turns yellow, layu liao, then boleh makan. So that was the main reason, because people in India believe that plants are living creatures. So the Buddha asked the monks not to cut. But it is true that plants are fairies. The smaller the plant, the smaller the fairy. The bigger the plant, the bigger the fairy. And sometimes if you cut the tree without giving them notice, they can cause you to have accident, cause you to be sick and all that. So lay people come to the monastery to help cut grass, to do gardening, and then cleaning and mopping the floor and all that. And nowadays, lay people also can come to the monastery to keep the precepts and to listen to Dhamma, like here today, and to meditate. So that is generally the purpose of a monastery. Formerly for monks and nuns to practice, but now also for lay people to practice. So I will tell you a bit about our monastery, which is called Vihara Buddha Gotama. Our monastery is open to all the monks and nuns and laymen and lay women to stay and practice. 1 minute, drink. Any monk or nun who wants to practice and can follow our daily schedule can stay, including laymen and lay women. And nuns include, in the Thai, I come from the Thai tradition. In Thailand, the nuns are only 8 preceptors. They wear white and shave their head. 8 preceptors means they can still keep money, can still keep property. But nowadays, like in Myanmar and in Sri Lanka, you have 10 preceptor nuns. They wear the robe like the monk, brown color. And they keep 10 precepts. Once you take 10 precepts, they cannot own money. They also cannot own property. Nowadays, sometimes people say cannot touch money. It is not cannot touch money. It cannot own money. Because in the Vinaya books, suppose you come to a monastery, you come to our monastery to offer dana or something, and then you left, and you forgot your purse, you left your purse, or you left your money. Then the Vinaya books, the monk has to pick up that money or that purse and keep it aside. And then when you come back another day to return it to you. So it's allowed for a monk to touch money, but not to possess, because the Buddha said if you possess money, then you can use it to enjoy whatever you like. So there's a 10 preceptor. So bhikkhunis also are welcome to stay in our place, whether it's Mahayana or Theravada. In fact, in a few days' time, there's one Mahayana bhikkhuni coming to stay in our place. She decided she wants to practice the Theravada way. She doesn't want to practice the Mahayana way, because after listening to all the Dhamma talks and investigating, she realized the true Dhamma is in Theravada Suttas. So laymen and lay women, if they come to practice, they can keep 8 precepts. When you come to our monastery, you have to keep 8 precepts. But 8 precepts doesn't mean you cannot eat, you cannot drink past noon. In our monastery, we allow people to take cereal drinks even after noon. And there are many things that are allowed in the Thai tradition. Even cheese is allowed, butter is allowed, various kinds of oils, coconut oil, olive oil, fish oil, etc. All these are allowed. And then dark chocolate, prunes, dates, red dates or black dates or Arab dates, any dates. So you won't get hungry. Because if you try to starve yourself, then you find you cannot practice well, especially in the morning. Because some of us, by 4 a.m. we are already meditating. So you meditate for 2 hours on an empty stomach, then you find you get angin, wind, flatulence. There's some people, they come to a monastery, they're used to practicing in a Burmese tradition where all these things are not allowed. Then they refuse to take. I ask them to make a drink, a hot drink, they don't want. After a few days, they come and tell me, a lot of wind, a lot of flatulence. I mean, we're advising you from experience. Because that time, 4 to 6 a.m., that's the time normally you want to sleep, isn't it? There's the time you are most sleepy. So the body wants to sleep, and you are fighting to keep awake, so you have to use energy. So, if people can follow our schedule, they can stay, anybody can stay. Have to keep the precepts. And also, it's not too inconvenient. Sometimes you get strange people. They want to come and dump their father in our place. And then we say, no, this is not an old folks' home. And they say, we're not compassionate. Who is not compassionate? Your father you want to throw away, you say we are not compassionate. So there are some people also, they come after a while, they quarrel with everybody. So that type of person also cannot. So our dormitory is quite big. We have a big dormitory for 80 women and another dormitory for 70 men. So 150 people can stay at any one time. So our schedule is morning is optional. If you can't get up, never mind. You can get up. You can meditate anytime between 4 to about 6 o'clock. Then after that, I have to go and help prepare breakfast, cut the fruits and all that. Because we don't have, we don't employ people. It's different from meditation centers. Meditation centers, they employ people, and then you go and meditate. You have to pay a certain amount, and you can meditate all the time. You don't have to do any work. But our place is basically for monks and nuns, so you have to follow basically what the monks and nuns do. So our breakfast time is about 6:45, but sometimes it is 6:30 because we have to go to 2 towns. Every day we go for alms round, Pindapata, because we want to follow the Buddha's. We are trying to follow original Buddhism. So we have to depend on what people give us. We don't cook. But sometimes there are some lay devotees, they are very devoted. Most of my devotees are from Penang because I stayed in Penang about 10 years. So sometimes they come and then they buy veggie and some meat and they cook for us. So if they cook, we have makan besar. Otherwise, we eat simple food. So every day from Monday to Saturday, and every day we go to different town. Because Perak, people are not used to giving, It's not like Kedah and Perlis and Penang. My grandparents all came from Penang. So my father told me, my grandmother used to put outside her house one small table with boiled Chinese tea and 1 or 2 cups. So wandering monks from Thailand, they walk past, they go on alms round, they see the teapot and the cup, they just pour and drink the tea and then they continue walking. So Penang and Kedah and Perlis people, they are used to seeing monks on Pindapat. When I came back from Thailand, I went to look for a cave to stay in Ipoh. So when I came out to beg for food on Armstrong, they had never seen a monk on Armstrong. All stared at me like I came out from the zoo. So I walk, nobody gave me anything. So I went to this stall, selling kueh. I went to her, so I stood there, so she didn't know how to give. Then the customer told her, hey, here, oi kokoi, pay the kokoi. Then she gave me some kokoi. Then I walked to the next stall. She saw, she also gave me some kokoi. Then the first stall lady came running, want to give me 2 ringgit. I said, we don't accept money. She also surprised, how come monk don't accept money? Then I went to the third stall, I got kokoi. Then I went back, had to eat kokoi for the day. Next day I came, same thing. Nobody gave me rice, nobody gave me meat. I had to eat kokoi. Third day, I had to eat kokoi. Fourth day, I had to eat kokoi. Fifth day, 10 days I had to eat kokoi every day. Then some young people came to see me in the cave. I was staying in a cave. They thought I was a Thai monk. So then they were surprised I was a Chinese monk. I can speak Cantonese. So I told them, we beggar monks, we are not vegetarian. We have to eat whatever is given to us. And on the 11th day, I got nasi lemak. So a monk wants to be vegetarian, tak boleh cari makan. That's why the Buddha had the wisdom to say a monk must not choose the food, anything. So Monday to Saturday, every day, we go a different town. We go in a van. Once we arrive at the town, sometimes we walk, sometimes we stand at the marketplace, sometimes we go to devotee's house. But generally, we stand in a marketplace. They will also give us kokoi and fruits and a lot of bread, because they still think that either monks are vegetarians or monks should be vegetarians. So we have to depend on a few devotees who are willing to cook for us. So we go to those devotees' house and they cook for us. Boleh makan. How to eat bread every day. So most of the bread they give us, we have to give away to some poor families. Only on Sunday, there's because most of the towns we have already gone. So on Sunday we don't go on Armstrong. But in Perak, very few people come to the monastery to give food. Even on a Sunday they don't come. Very few. Because firstly our monastery is not a town monastery. Town monastery can get a lot of food because a lot of people. We are in the Ulus, far away from people. Forest monastery is away from people. So we have a devotee who cooks for us. We give her some money, she cooks for us, and then we have to get somebody to drive to her house, collect the food and come back. So that is our lifestyle there. So either about 7 something we go on Armstrong. By the time we come back, it's 9 something. The furthest we go is Telok Intan, about 1 hour drive. So we have to start at 7 a.m. So to start at 7 a.m. We have to take breakfast at 6:30. 6:30, and then 7 o'clock we go, reach there 8 o'clock. We pin the part. By the time we come back, nearly 11 o'clock. So the time, but generally 7 something we go on Armstrong, we come back 9 something. For 2 hours if the lay people don't follow us on arms round, they have to do 2 hours of work. Either sweep the floor, or sweep the road, or mop the floor, or clean the windows, etc. It's not very difficult work. So after doing some work, so you finish at 9:30, you take a bit of rest. Then 11 o'clock is lunch. It's not as good food as in the town, but can survive. Because some of these people who cook for us, they still cook vegetarian food. And then after lunch, help to clean the plates and mop the floor. And then after about 12:15, you're free until about 4 o'clock. Some people hardworking, they'll go and meditate. Some people will sleep. Some people will listen to the Dhamma talks. But from 12 to 1, every day, people can talk to me. Can either discuss Dhamma or ask questions or whatever. 12 to 1. So at 4 o'clock we have chanting. Everybody comes together. But our chanting is very short now, about 20 minutes only. Pali chanting. Then after that we go and feed the dogs. We have 9 dogs because our place is a forest monastery. Wild creatures come in. Over the years, I've heard the sound of the tiger 3 times. And then about 8 years ago, black panther came into our monastery. And even now, every night we have wild boar coming in. Wild boar. So that's why we have so many dogs. Also, we try to get big dogs. Because got drug addicts around also. They also come in. That's why we had to build on 2 sides. We had to build a wall 10 feet high. So 5 o'clock until 6:30 we meditate. So compulsory meditation is one time, 5 to 6:30. And then 6:30 to 7:30 we listen to Dhamma. So after that can take a rest. So generally that's how monastery is run. So it is not too heavy, the schedule, not too heavy. Any questions? You can ask about anything. Can you speak louder?
It's regarding chanting. Chanting Pali, but a lot of it we actually don't understand. So there are some schools of thought feel that we should chant in English, something that we understand. What is your view?
Firstly, the Buddha said, there's no point in chanting if you don't understand. So when monasteries we chant in Pali because it's a tradition. It's one of those traditions that we feel is worth prolonging. So, but like in Mahayana, they chant in Chinese. So actually, if you are not in a monastery, at home if you want to chant in English, you can. You can chant in whatever language that you understand. So if you come to the monastery and you chant in Pali, you should look up the English translation, what it means. So if you look up, then you will know. Once you know, once is enough. Then each time you chant, at least most of the chants you know the meaning. You don't have to know every word. Any other thing?
Regarding leftover foods,
Regarding what?
leftover foods,
Yeah.
the monks, are they allowed to eat leftover foods? And also,
Allowed to what?
are they allowed to eat leftover foods like for, because
What kind of leftover food?
So, for example, if let's say they give a lot of banana or they cook a lot of after the day for celebrations, so like people giving banana for food in this many foods that they can't finish, will they throw it away or will they keep it for next day?
Depends lah. If like it's fruits, fruits is uncut, they can keep it lah. But the monk himself is not supposed to keep it lah. So the lay people will keep it in the fridge or in the kitchen. But the cooked food, we don't keep lah. So like in our monastery, we have some cooked food. We will bring it. We get some lay people to bring it to some poor homes and give them.
So what is your view? My second question is, what's your view of lay people that have leftover food? Do you think that it's advisable to throw away the food or to give it to other people? Which one is sort of a better practice?
You should not waste food lah. You should not waste food. So you should give to whoever wants lah. Some people like they take our leftover food, they give it to their dogs, they give it to the animals, the chickens and all that they rear lah. But one thing, it is not good for a Buddhist to give to monks if they already prayed, say like offer the food, either to like Qing Ming, they offer to departed relatives, or even they offer to Thi Gong, to the devas. Also, it's not advisable to give to monks. Why? Because ordinary people, they think that devas are higher than monks. But actually, monks are higher than devas. Because monks, the Sangha is one of the triple gem. So even devas, they come and pay respect to the monks. There is a sutta, I think it's a Buddha Danta Sutta in the Digha Nikaya, where a person asks the Buddha about making offerings to heaven. Some of them, they will slaughter animals and offer to heaven. But they want to get married, they want to get blessings. So they ask the Buddha how to do so that he can get a lot of blessings. So the Buddha said, by not causing harm to any of these animals, the best thing is to offer, for example, milk, butter, ghee, honey, molasses, or this type of food to heaven. Then later he asked the Buddha, he said, is there any other offering that is more meritorious than offering to heaven? The Buddha said yes. The Buddha said, if you offer regularly to ascetics, monks who go on alms round, that is more meritorious than offering to heaven. Because the Sangha is a bigger field of merit than devas. So a lot of people don't know. They think, especially like after Chinese New Year, buy Thi Gong, then they come and offer to the monks.
You mentioned Thailand or the Nun. What I know, from up to today, why Thai tongue are not recognized, and they are like considered like not like a male
This stems why in the first place in Thailand it's not that the nuns are not recognized. In Thailand they only allow 8 precept nuns. They allow nuns to take 8 precepts only, not higher, not more than 8 precepts. This comes from the Buddha's days. When the first woman wanted to become a nun, it was actually the Buddha's foster mother, Gotama. And she asked the Buddha for ordination 3 times. The Buddha refused her. So tears came down, also the Buddha refused her. And then after that, the Buddha went to another place. She got a few of her friends and who wanted to become nuns. They also followed the Buddha until the Buddha went to another monastery. Then they stood outside the monastery gates. And then Ananda saw her and recognized her. Ananda is a relative of the Buddha. So he asked the Buddha's foster mother, why are you standing there with tears in your eyes and dust all over your clothes? Then she said she had asked the Buddha to become a nun and the Buddha refused to ordain her. So Ananda said, never mind, you wait, I will go and ask the Buddha. So he went to ask the Buddha. 3 times the Buddha refused. Then he thought, I must find another way. Then he told the Buddha, he said, Bhagavan, this is not an ordinary woman. This is the woman who looked after you after your mother passed away. Took you as her own son, gave you milk, brought you up, just like her own son, Nanda. So you owe a lot to her. Then because of that, the Buddha said, okay, if you will accept 8 conditions, then she can become a nun. Well, these 8 conditions, I've forgotten all of them, but one is like, even if a nun is ordained 100 years, when she meets a monk, even ordained for 1 day, she must pay respect to the monk. Another one, she cannot criticize a monk, cannot scold a monk. A monk can scold a nun. Another one, during the rainy season, she must stay in a place where there are monks. Another one, every 2 weeks, she must go to the monks and ask for a teaching and for the date of the Uposatha, the recital of the precepts. And then various other conditions. So Venerable Ananda told Venerable Gotama and she accepted those conditions. Then after that, the Buddha said she's considered a nun. Now, after the Venerable Ananda came back to tell the Buddha that she accepted, the Buddha told him, Ananda, if today you had not asked for nuns to go forth, the Sasana, the Buddha's religion, would have lasted 1,000 years. The true Dhamma would have lasted 1,000 years. But now that women have gone forth, the true Dhamma will last 500 years. When the Buddha talks about the religion, he's talking about the true Dhamma, the suttas. The suttas, the Buddha said, will persevere for 500 years. And other suttas, the Buddha said, 500 years after the Buddha's passing away, false Dhamma will appear. This false Dhamma comes from later monks. They start writing all the new books. So, then the Buddha also explained why. The Buddha said, just like a house, robbers come to rob the house. If the house contained all men, they will be able to fight the robbers. But if they had women in the house, they have to fight the robbers, they have to protect the women. So, they have become weakened. Similarly, the Buddha said, suppose there is a long caravan, a line of caravans going through the forest, and they are attacked by bandits. If the caravan was all men, they can fight with the bandits. and stand a chance of winning. But if they have to protect the women in the caravan, they have to fight and think of the women. It's harder to fight. What does that mean? Nowadays you see in the newspaper quite a number of women get raped in India. During the Buddha's time also the same. So the Buddha made the nuns stay near the monks. And the monks have to look after the nuns, have to teach the nuns. So it's harder to practice. Every day, harder to practice. So that's why you find a lot of monks disrobe because of a woman, and some women disrobe because of a man. So that's the reason now. So because the Buddha objected to women going forth, that's why now in Thailand and Myanmar and Sri Lanka, the Sangharajas, they object. But even though like in Thailand, the nuns only take 8 precepts, Long Po Sumedo, when he was in UK, in his Amaravati, he allowed nuns to receive 10 precepts and wear the robe just like the monk. So for example, if a lady wants to ordain in our monastery, as an abbot, I can give her 8 precepts or 10 precepts because we are outside of Thailand. But whether it's a monk or a nun, if a person wants to ordain, he has to stay at least 2 years before he gets the higher ordination. Any other question? Nearer.
I heard from a friend saying that it's easier for lay people to get enlightenment than compared to laymas.
It's easier for lay persons, that means humans, to get what? To get enlightenment compared to devas. Don't talk about enlightenment because enlightenment is very difficult. There are 4 types. There are 8 types of Arya. First path, first fruit, second path, second fruit, third path, third fruit, and fourth path, fourth fruit. But once you get the path in the same lifetime, it turns to fruit. So you can also consider there are 4 types of Arya. The first fruit, second fruit, third fruit, and fourth fruit. Sotapanna, Sakadagamin, Anagamin, and Arahant. Okay? For lay people, it's almost impossible to get the second fruit. Why? Because the second fruit, you need jhana, either the first or the second or the third jhana. And jhana is very difficult to get. But nowadays, there are some monks who teach that it's very easy to get jhana. But their jhana is not the Buddha's jhana. Nowadays, there's a lot of different teachers. Some they say you just sit down, watch your breath, you already attained first jhana. No such thing. So, third and fourth fruit, Anagamin and Arahant, you need 4 jhanas. 4 jhanas is a very high state. In fact, to attain any jhana is difficult. Why? Because in the description of the first jhana, the Buddha said, aloof from sensual desires, aloof from unwholesome states. A monk enters and abides in the first jhana. So before you can enter the first jhana, you got to give up sensual pleasures. You have to give up unwholesome states. So lay people generally can only attain the first Sotapanna stage. And Sotapanna, you don't need any jhana. In the something like 10,000 suttas in the 5 Nikayas, there's only one sutta that says that very clearly. That is Samyutta Nikaya 55.40 lah. In that sutta, the Buddha said, a Sotapanna does not have jhana. So, and how to get this Sotapanna is by listening to the Dhamma. Listen to the Dhamma with focused attention. Listen to the suttas with focused attention, and you understand. Then you have attained right view. Once you have attained right view, you have entered the stream. The stream in the suttas refers to the Aryan Eightfold Path. So entering the stream means entering the first factor of the Aryan Eightfold Path, which is right view. As in Majjhima Nikaya 43 says, to get right view, to attain stream entry, only two conditions. One is the voice of another. The second condition is Yoniso Manasikara. The voice of another means somebody teaching you the true Dhamma. If you listen to false Dhamma, later books, you can never get. If you meditate, also can never get. You must listen to the true Dhamma, the original suttas. And Yoniso Manasikara is focused attention. When you listen with focused attention, there's a sutta that says at that time the five hindrances are eliminated. Short term. You don't have the five hindrances obstructing you, and you have the seven bojjhanga at that time. Then you can understand. So for lay persons, it's not difficult to get Sotapanna. And it's the same with Devas. But for higher stages, Devas, they won't get. Why? Because life is so good in the heavenly realm. Every day enjoy. Where I want to practice? You practice only when you get slapped by dukkha. And dukkha slaps you, then you start asking why. For example, when you get cancer, then you say, why me? You start asking. If you don't get dukkha, you don't see dukkha, you don't want to practice one. Just like a child playing, you ask the child to study, ayah, don't want to study. Any other question? Put nearer your mouth.
It is said that if we offer dana to an Arahant monk versus, say, a new monk, that one would achieve more merit offering dana to the Arahant monk. Why? Why is it so?
Because if you give dana, you give an offering to a virtuous person, he benefits more people. So you are indirectly benefiting more people. If you give money to a drug addict, he's not going to benefit anybody, and he's not going to do good for himself by taking more drugs. Yeah? So there is a sutta that says, if you make an offering to an animal, you should expect to get back 100 times what you gave to that animal. If you give to an immoral, ordinary worldling, a putujana, somebody who is going endlessly in the round of rebirths, and he is immoral, does not keep the sila, still you will get back 1,000 times what you gave him. Okay? Now you give to a virtuous, ordinary worldling, you expect to get back 100,000 times what you gave to that virtuous, ordinary, worldling Putujana, 100,000 times. And if you give to an external sect recluse, free from lust for sensual pleasures, that means an external sect, for example, yogi, who has attained jhana, you can expect to get back the vipaka 100,000 times, 100,000 times, so much. And then if you give to a first path attainer, a stream person has attained stream entry, the vipaka, the result is immeasurable repayment for your gift, immeasurable. That is the first path attainer. But if you give to a 100 first path attainers, the blessing or the merit is even less than giving to one sotapanna, first fruit attainer. And then you give to 100 sotapanna, first fruit attainer, the blessing, the merit is even less than giving to one second path attainer. And then you give to 100 second path attainers, the blessing is less than giving to 1 second fruit attainer. Similarly, you give to 100 second fruit attainer, the merit is less than giving to 1/3 path attainer. And giving to 100 path attainer, the blessing is less than giving to 1/3 fruit attainer. And giving to 100 fruit attainer, the blessing, merit is less than giving to 1/4 path attainer. And giving to 104th path attainer, the blessing, the merit is less than giving to 1 arahant. So you see, the Buddha is very systematic and very detailed one. Last time I was studying Hinduism for 4 years, and some of the Hindu yogis may have been Pacheka Buddhas. Some of the things they say is very profound, but they cannot explain in detail, or they don't want to explain in detail. Pacheka Buddhas, they know as much as a Sammasambuddha, but they refuse to teach. So only when you come to the suttas, the words of a Sammasambuddha, nobody can compare. Have you seen any other religion where the religion founder says that time has no beginning and time has no end? No other religion dare to say that. Only our Buddha dare to say that. Now after 2000 over years, science also says time has no beginning, time has no end. We usually think that time must have a beginning. So who created the beginning? So we create God. Any other thing?
Bhante, I want to ask you, how is the rebirth taking place? I see the Kandava is become the fertilized egg on the mother and father get together to kind of fertilize the rebirth taking place.
They're talking about rebirth in the womb. In the womb.
Yeah, something like that.
Because there are 4 types of rebirth: egg-born, womb-born, water-born, and direct transformation. So if you're asking about the womb-born, the Buddha said, for a being to be born in the womb, there must be 3 conditions. This in the Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta 38. The Buddha said, what are these 3 conditions? First, mother and father must come together. Secondly, mother must be in the right season. There is the egg there, ready, and the egg is fertilized. Then there must be the being, in the sutras it's called the Gandhava, who is ready to be born into the womb. And this being will go into the womb, lodge itself inside the egg, and the egg will start to grow. Okay? But later books like the Abhidhamma, they don't believe that there is a being that enters the womb. They say consciousness enters the womb. But in the suttas, you cannot have consciousness by itself. You cannot. Because consciousness refers to 6 types of consciousness. The eye consciousness, the ear consciousness, the nose, the tongue, the body and the mind. So for you to have consciousness, you must have the eye, you must have the ear, you must have the nose, tongue, body and mind. Because consciousness comes from these 6 organs. Without the eye, you cannot have seeing consciousness. Okay? Say again. Gandhava is a later books. Gandhava is called the intermediate body. It's also 5 khandha. It is body, feelings, mind, perception, body, feeling, perception, volition and consciousness. No self doesn't mean no 5 aggregates. No self means there is no thing that is permanent, everlasting. That's all. So if there is no self, how come you have a body? Body and mind. Body and mind, not necessarily a flesh body. When you have passed away, you can be reborn in 5 realms. Okay? Heaven, human being, ghost, animal, and hell being. Okay? Of these 5, you need to see carefully. Only 2 have got flesh body. Human being and animal. 3 of them don't have flesh body. So now you ask, how can they exist? They have a spirit body, not necessarily that you must have a flesh body. A ghost has a body, only you can't see. But there are some people who can see. Dogs can see a ghost. Can't hear you.
Bhante, I ask again. When we die, we think of karma, but is it instantly reborn or got a waiting period or something like that?
Okay. This rebirth, whether it's instantaneous or have to wait. Firstly, if you are going to be reborn in heaven, it is instantaneous. If you are going to be reborn in the womb, in the human birth, you have to wait. Just now I mentioned the 3 conditions. If you are going to be born as a ghost, instantaneous. If you are going to be reborn as an animal, you have to wait. Because you have to go into the womb. If you are going to be reborn in hell, it's instantaneous. In the suttas, in the Majjhima Nikaya, it is stated, if your karma is so bad that you are going to be reborn in hell, the moment you die, the hell beings will come up and drag you down to hell. Okay? Now, you ask yourself, what are they dragging? They don't want to drag your smelly corpse, So what are they dragging? They are dragging what comes out from your corpse. That is the soul. A lot of monks, they don't investigate properly. They say there's no soul. Who says there's no soul? The Buddha did not say there's no soul. The Buddha said there is no atta, there is no thing that is permanent, everlasting. The soul, the Buddhist soul is not permanent, is not everlasting. Only the Christian soul is permanent. The Muslim soul is permanent, not the Buddhist soul. If you look into I also used to think that as in Buddhism we don't have a soul, because we have the wrong concept that a soul means something that is permanent and everlasting. But if you look into the Oxford English Dictionary, it says that the soul is the spiritual part of man, often assumed to be everlasting. It is only assumed to be everlasting. It is not necessary that it is everlasting. Only some religions assume that it is everlasting. So this soul is a spiritual part of man. It is not your body, We tend to think that the flesh body is the self. The flesh body is only a shell. You are residing in that shell. And that you are inside, that soul is changing according to your mind, according to your character. A lot of people are not familiar with the suttas. They don't know some of the important suttas, like the Buddha said. Among his various types of psychic powers, the Buddha has one type of psychic power where he can withdraw from the top of his head a mind-made body. This in Hinduism is called the astral body. Why do the Hindu yogis talk about astral body? Because they have psychic powers. They have psychic powers, they can see. So sometimes like certain monks, like Venerable Moggallana, after he became a disciple of the Buddha, he was striving for enlightenment. Every night he refused to sleep. But because he refused to sleep, he was overtired. In the middle of the night, sitting very straight also he falls asleep. So the Buddha knows. So the Buddha went to him in this mind-made body, came out and woke him up. Woke him up and then he got a shock. The Buddha said, this body that came out from his head is golden color and look like his physical, like his flesh body. So he put on further effort. And then the second night he struggled, the same thing, fell asleep, the Buddha went to him. Third night the Buddha went to him. Fourth night the Buddha went to him. He kept on struggling until 7 nights he became enlightened. Without Buddha coming to him every night, he would not have become enlightened so fast. So you see, in the suttas there is evidence of this astral body. Also, I mentioned, the Buddha said that this spirit body that I mentioned, Gandhava, goes into the womb. If this spirit body did not go into the womb, the egg will not grow. Just like nowadays, we have chicken farms. A lot of chickens give eggs. They lay eggs. The eggs will not develop into a chicken. Why? Because it's not fertilized. Only when it's fertilized, it will develop. So there is another sutta. And then another sutta, the third one, is that the Buddha talked about 4 types of beings that enter the womb. The Buddha said there's one type of being that enters the womb unknowing. Blur, enter the womb. Stay there also unknowing, blur. Comes out also unknowing. The second type of being, it enters the womb knowing. Knows when he enters the womb. But he stays in the womb unknowing. Comes out also unknowing. The third type, it enters the womb knowing, stays there knowing, then comes out unknowing. The fourth type, the Buddha said, like himself, he went into the womb knowing, stayed there knowing, came out also knowing. The mind is so clear, so strong, that is conscious all the time. So, this is the third sutta that shows there is a being. And the fourth one, as I mentioned just now, if your karma is so bad, the sutta says you are going to hell, the hell beings will come up and drag you down to hell. That's why we talk about Gu Tao Be Bin, Ngao Tao Ma Min. Because some people have seen, a devotee of mine told me that the father, a few days before the father died, the father saw Gu Tao Be Bin waiting for him at the door. Yeah. Now we forget about the suttas, we talk about real life. I have a devotee in Penang, an old man. He told me years ago he had an auntie, very nasty character, full of anger and hatred. 2 days before she died, Dracula teeth came out. The Dracula teeth came out. The children saw, they got a shock. The man who told me, he also saw himself, otherwise he couldn't believe. The auntie turned into a Dracula 2 days before she died. 2 days later, she died, the teeth disappeared. What does it mean? It means the soul has left the body, leaving the flesh body there. The soul has already turned into Dracula or Pontianak. Recently, one of my devotees told me the sister married a businessman. And this businessman, because of greed, went to get this kwai chai, toyol or whatever. And then he kept this to do business. And then he became a multi-millionaire, made a lot of money. But these people, they don't know, they have to pay for it. Now he's getting old, time to die. The spirit waiting to bring him to the ghost realm, hanging around every day. He saw the spirit get so frightened, don't want to die. Hold on to life. Supposed to die, refuse to die. But as he is holding on to life, because he's already old, his face is changed into a fierce ghost. The wife also cannot recognize his face. Turn into a totally different face. Who is that? That is the soul going to take rebirth. That's why I said ghost, immediate rebirth. But if you are going to be reborn in heaven, your face will turn like into a Devi face. Because in the sutta, the Buddha said, if you want to be reborn in heaven, you have to change your character now until your character becomes a Deva or a Devi. The moment you die, you've already become a Deva or a Devi, even before your death. So naturally, when you die, you will leave your body as a Deva or a Devi. And then if you are a gu cat, ngọc trích, before you die, you already turn into an animal inside. There's some people, just before they die, they're already behaving like animal, cry like animal, run around on all fours like animal. One devotee told me last time the neighbor used to slaughter pigs. Few days before the neighbor died, squealing like a pig, crying like a pig, running all around. They hear us all, their hair stand up. So, jangan main-main, don't play. Life is very dangerous. When we listen to the Dhamma, we know these things, then we get scared, then you want to practice. If you don't know all these things, you don't want to practice. How can say bong ti ling? Okay? Have I answered you? Are you satisfied?
Satu-satu.
Let's say we are the relative of these people.
You are the
What
what?
can we do?
What?
If we are the relatives of these people that is going to die and we see all these things, what can we do? What
You
should we
can't do anything. That's why on Sunday night I'm going to talk why cultivation or siu sing is so important. You have to change your character. Siu sing is siu sing way. Change your character. So the character that you are when you're going to die will determine where you go for rebirth. So last minute, you can't do anything. Too late already. The soul already formed already. I tell you, there is one, many years ago, I went to Telok Intan, and we have two Telok Intan devotees here. A few years ago, there one old lady died. Then they told me, a few days before she died, she was crying. They asked her why. She said, who has stolen my clothes? I'm naked. She saw herself naked, but everybody saw she was not naked. She was crying because she had turned into this naked ghost. Then after that, she died. So they asked me why. This lady has been chanting Omitohut for 30 over years. You chant Omitohut 30 over years, you don't change your character inside, no point. I have a relative, also a distant relative. He changed his religion from a Taoist to another religion. Every day pray, very happy. After 10 years, he got cancer. Then a few days before he died, he kept seeing ghosts. Then he asked the pastor, why he keeps seeing ghosts? Because he's supposed to go to heaven. Couldn't answer him. So just before he died, he shouted, he don't believe anymore. So that's why Buddhism is so important. Buddhism is a DIY religion. Do it yourself. Nobody can help you. We have to change our character for the better. Then only we go to a better place. Nobody can help you on. The Buddha said, I only show the way. You have to practice yourself. Take the mic. The other brother there. Give him the mic. Give him the mic.
Reverend sir, correct me if I'm wrong. There is a so-called statement that it's a last thought moment, which is a predetermined subsequent rebirth. Can you explain further on the last thought moment?
This last thought moment, several religions believe in it. And in Buddhism, those people who follow Dhamma, they believe in it. And the reason they believe in it, there are two. One is they talk about rebirth linking consciousness, patisandhi citta. They say when the person is dying, the moment he dies, the last thought, the last consciousness is linked to the next birth. Okay? So that's why they say the last thought is very important. Yeah. But not in the suttas. In the suttas, the last thought is not important. It is your character that is important. These people who study the Abhidhamma, they never investigate the suttas enough. That's why they don't find the contradiction. In the suttas, there is one sutta where a cousin of the Buddha by the name of Mahanama, he used to come to the monastery, which was several kilometers from town. He would go to the monastery to help do some work for the monks. And then he stay on at night and listen to the Dhamma discussion every night. And then at the end of the Dhamma discussion, maybe 10 o'clock at night, he'll walk back to the city, several kilometers away. And in those days, there were no street lights. And monasteries were in the forest. So he got to walk through the forest alone in the dark. So one day he asked the Buddha, I said, Bhagavan, I was thinking every night I walk back alone like this. One night I might suddenly be killed by maybe some animal or a stray runaway horse or knocked down by a bull or killed by a bandit or something. So he thought at the last moment when he's dying, he's frightened. He asked the Buddha, he said, will I go to a bad rebirth? The Buddha said, don't worry, Nama. For a long time you have taken refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. And the Buddha said, if a person has various good qualities like faith in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, he listens to the suttas, he keeps his sila and several other good qualities, the Buddha said, he has an elevated mind, and that elevated mind will bring him to a good rebirth. So you see, even when you are dying, frightened, you don't go to a frightened place. Why? Because our normal concept, when a person is dying, and the doctor normally will touch your pulse, isn't it? If your heartbeat has stopped and your breathing has stopped, the doctor will say, this man is dead. Yeah? That is a normal concept of death, but not in Buddhism. In Buddhism, that's why a lot of people don't study the suttas. There's so much wealth of information in the sutta. The Buddha said, when a person dies, three things must stop. One is the vital energy. In Chinese we say qi, qi. The second one, the mind must stop working. The third one, the body heat must dissipate totally. The first two, you can't tell. So normally after a person is pronounced dead by the doctor, you feel the corpse is still warm, But then because the doctor says this person has died, if you are in the hospital, they will push the corpse into the cold room. But sometimes it happens, after 2 weeks when they take out the corpse is still alive. And it has happened that sometimes they bury the corpse and the fellow wakes up alive in the coffin. Several years ago I was in Singapore to give some Dhamma talks. And then a devotee told me there's a place somewhere Woodlands there, they wanted to develop, so they had to clear the cemetery. So normally relatives want the remains, they want to burn the remains and keep. So they had to dig up the coffin one by one, they call it exhume the coffin. So they had to open the coffin one by one. One of the coffins they opened, they saw scratch marks. So imagine if you are buried in the coffin and you wake up one day, you find yourself in a dark place and you feel all around, hey, how come I am closed in a wooden box? How do you feel? Panic, isn't it? Panic. And you try to come up, scratch. So these things happen. So that's why it's good to know that three things must stop. So what happens normally is that after the doctor says that person has died, it may be 4 or 5 hours before that person actually dies. And during these 4 or 5 hours, the 5 senses have closed. It's not aware of seeing, not aware of hearing, not aware of smell, taste, touch. Only the mind is working. And that mind is working like in a dream, You have no control. You have no control. What you dream is your everyday mind. If a person is a gangster, always thinking of fighting, those last moments, he'll be fighting. I might be reborn as an animal. If you are practicing Buddhist, you meditate, you keep your sila, you listen to the suttas, your mind is peaceful because every day you are cultivating your mind to be peaceful. And at that time when you are dying, you will have a very peaceful mind. One of our Buddhists in Penang told me the mother died of cancer. Normally, when a person dies of cancer, sometimes the tumor bursts, so very painful. So when the mother died, the face was in pain. The doctor said the mother died. 1 or 2 hours later, when she looked at her mother, she said the mother's face changed until it became so peaceful, so bright, so happy. That means she had a good heart. As I mentioned just now, some people, when they're going to the ghost realm, their face will change, become a ghost face. So this dying is not so fast. That's why this last thought moment is not really that conscious moment. It's not that conscious moment. You have no control. Where you go depends on your karma. Depends on your character. Your karma is your actions that determine your habits. Your habit patterns determine your character.
But in the case of company, not to solve the problem, something claim that deceased relative keep on coming back, disturb him. Is there anything to be done, to resolve the problem?
Yes. When these beings come back, it usually means they are reborn as a ghost, and they are desperate for help. So those they are so desperate that they will come again and again. So if a person is not a practicing Buddhist, he does not learn the Dhamma, he doesn't know what to do. I know a case, somebody told me, a neighbor, it's a Christian house, the mother died. After the mother died, some being came back to the house. The children all got scared, move away. This is normally what happens. People think there's some foreign spirit, foreign devil come to disturb them, they better move away. But they don't realize it's their own relative coming for help. Sometimes even after 10 years, they come back for help when they know there is hope. So you must, what does a ghost need? The ghost doesn't want you to do a lot of chanting. A lot of people don't understand, they do a lot of chanting, they think want to help. People in Africa are very hungry. You go there, you do chanting for them, they want or not? They want food. So ghosts, mainly, the main concern is food. Secondly, some of them, they will require clothing. Or some are born naked. So these two things are only important. So you have to do these two things. And it's good to offer to the Sangha. So if you want to do them, you want to do this offering for them, normally I tell people, so if you want to do on a Sunday, for example, you want to do on a Sunday, this dana to the monastery, Saturday night, Friday night, Thursday night, you must tiam here, light the incense, put it outside your house, in the earth, and tell your departed relatives, all your departed relatives, because the Buddha said we have a lot of departed relatives in the ghost realm. Tell them that you want to do dana on Sunday, do on their behalf, and transfer the merit to them. So by giving them notice, they know, so on Sunday they come, waiting for the merit. So if you know that they keep on coming and you do nothing, it's very cruel, isn't it? I have a devotee, he was not a Buddhist before, then he became a Buddhist and started coming to the monastery, and then he started asking me about Dhamma, asked me a lot of questions. I used to teach him. After a few months, Chinese New Year came, the sister went back to the mother's house, the mother's old house. And after the sister went back to the house, the spirit entered her and started calling this man's name. So this man, the mother got alarmed, got a shock. Then the mother asked this spirit, who are you? And then he said his name. Actually, it's the son. The son, 10 years ago, at the age of 20 something, he used to join bad company, drink liquor. One day he was half drunk, coming back on the motorcycle, got hit by a lorry and rolled over, and he died. So now he comes back, calling the brother's name. Then the mother didn't know what to do, like a lot of people, you don't study the suttas, you don't know what to do. So the mother said, you please go back. Then she realized it's the son who died 10 years ago. Then he told the son, he said, you please go back wherever you came from, you go back there. So the son saw that he cannot help, so this ghost left. So after this, the devotee went home, then he heard this. Next day he came to ask me. So I laughed at him. I said, you see, your brother, 10 years, never looked for you. Now you're learning the Dhamma, ada harapan. So come looking for you. So you see, when they know there is some hope, they come. If there's no hope, they won't come. There's another case in Tapala. One lady, 45 years old, accident with the son in the car, 15 years old, both died. And after that, they employed some what they call Sai Kong, Lamolo, this Taoist layman to come to do chanting 2 nights. On the second night, so many people in the house, these Taoists were doing the chanting. Only 3 people heard the ghost crying. Why so many people in the house never heard? Only 3 people heard. Why? Because these 3 people are close to that ghost. So that ghost will only look for somebody who thinks may help. Won't go to anybody one. There are a lot of ghosts on the street. They won't come to you because they think you won't help them. But if they think you will help them, they will come to you. Okay?
Permission to speak.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters, in view of the time, maybe we will just take another 1 or 2 more short questions for Bhante, and we will call it a day. We will stop where the thing is going on. Don't worry, ada harapan lagi. Tomorrow, we still have Bhante around at 2:00, 2:30. We still can ask questions at 9. We still have Bhante.
Not 2 o'clock, isn't it? 12:30 to 1:30, is it?
And Sunday we stay until around, so probably 1 or 2 more questions.
Okay, I just want to ask regarding the Kandava going to the room, how do they choose going to which room? Is it because of the person's karma, or based on the karma, or how do they actually categorize which room do they go to?
From the suttas, which room they go to, it seems like devas can choose. Devas, they have psychic powers. But if you are a human being and you die, not sure how. Could be somebody you have affinity to, or could be somebody that is near to the place where that person died. That is not so important. Important is our character. What type of character we have will determine. One more question.
Brother Danny, you wanted to ask questions?
I just want to clarify on the 4 stages of enlightenment. The uttermost Buddha, there are 4 pairs of this seed group, 4 pairs. So, like us, we are practicing the Dhamma and we're using the precept. We consider one of the 4 pairs.
These 4 pairs, are you talking about the first path, first fruit, second path, second fruit, third path? Huh?
Yeah, the Mavya path.
Yeah.
So, as we are practicing this, observe the precept and do this according to the Dhamma. So, are we one of these 4 pairs?
Not necessary. Firstly, to be the first pair, this stream, first path or first fruit, you don't need any jhana. What you need is right view, and that comes from listening to the early suttas of the Buddha in the 5 Nikayas, learning them again and again. Either listening to because in my Dhamma talks, all the 5 Nikayas I have spoken. So either listening to those suttas again and again until you understand, or reading the Nikayas. But if you read the Nikaya books, it's harder to understand. Because I explain, after I read the suttas, I explain, and then I compare with other suttas to make things clearer. Because some people told me they start to read and they find they cannot understand. But when they listen to my suttas, they understand. So the first path and the first fruit is by listening to the suttas. But the second path and second fruit, you must have either the first or the second or the third jhana, which is difficult to get. And then for the third and the fourth fruit, you need 4 jhanas, which is even harder to get. So nowadays, Anagamin and the third fruit and the fourth fruit, Arahan, almost impossible to find. But of course, there are some people, they claim they are Arahan, they are third fruit and all that, and they don't even have any jhana. Or they have the wrong type of jhana. Okay? So you can save your questions for tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Bhante. For brothers and sisters, the Dhamma, a little information for tomorrow. For those who are staying here, breakfast are provided.